everybody, Denise with Lazy K Mountain Homestead. Well, today has been a really awful day. We've had the storms come in from Mississippi and Arkansas, and we've had tornado watches, and thank goodness we haven't had a whole lot of damage. A lot of rain, a lot of thunder and lightning. And I understand Arkansas and Mississippi really got hit bad, so please keep them in your prayers. I've been trying to do a video today off and on with bread. I've got 2 videos I want to make, but we've had the power out and the power just came back on. So fingers crossed I'll be able to get through this and be able to bake the bread without any problem, because I do have electric. I told Willis, I said, it's time to start thinking about a gas stove, because 2 weeks ago we had bad storms come through, straight line winds, and we were out of power for over 48 hours, but we do have a generator, so we're blessed with that. We did have a lot of trees down in the back. They just went over like toothpicks. But so far so good. So anyways, what I'm going to make today is out of the Better Homes and Gardens cookbook that I've used before. This thing has seen better days, but I love it. So Better Homes and Garden cookbook, and it is the whole wheat bread recipe. I've been using a lot of recipes out of this book for bread, and my rye bread was out of this. I haven't tried the sourdough one yet because I have my own sourdough recipe, but I will tell you this whole wheat is really good. I've made it several times, and I tried my sourdough with the mixer method last week, and it really turned out good too. So if you're familiar with that method, that's great. I really was never familiar with the mixer method. I've always done everything by hand in a bread bowl. But I like this, and this is an old recipe, so I love discovering new things and learning new things. So what we're going to use is we're going to use whole wheat flour, bread flour, salt, yeast, brown sugar, water, butter, and I think that's about it. So yesterday I went to our local Mennonites, which is Muddy Pond, Tennessee, and I got a bread flour haul. It's heavy. It's 10 pounds. That's whole stone ground whole wheat, and it's non-GMO. I got sea salt, the yeast. What else did I get? I got some pecans because I'm going to make a recipe with some pecans. Some molasses, which they make over there. And I had to get some black jelly beans because I love them. And I know I've gotten something else, but I can't. Oh, butter. Their butter, which comes in a roll. So anyways, let's get started on this recipe. Like I said, it's a little bit different. We're going to start with bread flour. And we're going to use 2 cups of this bread flour. I guess I could have had these open. And we're just going to go ahead and measure that out, and it's just put it in there. I don't scrape the top of it. The recipe says just loose like that, so not packed down. So we're going to put that in there, and then with that we're going to add our yeast, and it is 1 packet of yeast or 1 tablespoon. And this is the yeast from the Mennonites. Okay, and we're just going to leave that right in there. Okay, and now we are going to go over to the stove. Okay, we're over here at the stove. I put 3 tablespoons of butter in my medium saucepan. I've got it on medium high. And to that, we're going to add 1 3/4 cup of water. You can warm it up if you want to. It'll make it melt faster. And then we're going to add 1/3 cup of brown sugar. Now, if you want to use honey, I actually am out of my honey. I can't wait for the bees to hurry up and make some honey so I can go out there and harvest them. You could use your honey and have honey wheat, and that's actually what I did with my honey. Plus, I use it in my sourdough bread, and I had an order for 30 loaves over the holidays, and I used up most of my honey. So that's what happened to it. So we're going to go ahead and just mix this around. until it's almost melted. You don't want it to boil because we are going to pour this into the flour and yeast mixture. You don't want it to be too hot because it can kill the yeast. So, let's see. If you've got a thermometer, you can use that. I thought maybe I had one in here, but I don't have one. But I'll know just from, if you do have a thermometer and it's your first time, just go ahead and check the temperature at 120. So we're going to go back over here to the mixer and we're going to pour this in. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and pour all of the liquid from the stove, which is your sugar, your butter, and your water, right in there. And we are going to just gently mix this for 30 seconds. Until it just really nicely incorporates. And now you'll actually be able to see, let me see if I can bring this over here. You can see the yeast is already starting to bubble up in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put this on medium. I think it does say medium. Yep, medium for 3 minutes. We're going to keep it in the mixer. So that's medium on my KitchenAid. And I will time 3 minutes. Okay. So Monday, I'm getting a new mixer because this one is kind of seen its last days. I love my KitchenAid, but I hosted a Pampered Chef party and got enough sales and bookings to get a new mixer. So I'm going to try the Pampered Chef mixer. I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. So I'm excited. It's got like gauges on there, I understand, and it's I think it's maybe like computerized or something. I'll know when I get there. When it comes, rather, Monday. Okay, let me just make sure I've got everything in here. Yeah. Oh, let me go ahead and add some salt. We didn't add any salt. Okay, and it is 1 and I usually just do this by 5 pinches. So it's 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt. So I just added that too. You have to be careful with your salt sometimes because it can kill the yeast. So what I like to do is kind of add it as I'm mixing it up and giving the yeast a chance. Okay, now we've got this going for 3 minutes. And after this, we're going to add whole wheat flour and some more bread flour. So we are almost at 3 minutes. And the whole wheat flour is going to be 2 cups. And like I said, this is stone ground. I'll put this in containers later. But I wanted you to see this. The Mennonites, I get this for $6.90 and it's 10 pounds. So it really is a good deal. And the same with the bread flour. Okay, let me get my cup measures here. Okay, so what we're going to do, it's been 3 minutes. We're going to turn this off, unlock it. Like I said, this is a new way of mixing this up, and it really works well. And yeah, I'm going to use my fingers. Okay. And what I've done too, I've actually mixed the flour in with it, with the beater. But because it's the recipe, I'm going to go ahead and do it like the recipe says. So we're going to go ahead and add 2 cups of whole wheat. And I have 3/4 cup here. I'm just going to add that to it. It calls for as much bread flour as you can add. And now with my wooden spoon, I'm just going to go ahead and beat this by hand. Now, if you need to add more flour, you can, but this pretty much is what I do, and it makes a sticky batter or dough that you're going to turn out onto a floured, I use a pastry mat. Okay, let me go ahead and move this out of the way. Just over here it goes. Move these guys over here. It does have 2 rises. Okay, so it is like this right now. So it's a sticky dough, but it's one that you can handle. And I'm just going to go ahead and flour my mat here with some bread flour. And I'm going to put that on there so it doesn't move anywhere. And you're just going to turn your dough out on this mat like so. And if it's a little bit in there, go ahead and grab it. It's really not much in here, so that's just flour. And I'll put that over there. Okay, and as you can see, it's sticky. Let me see if I can back that up so you can see a little bit better. There you go. It's a sticky dough, kind of a shaggy dough is what that's called, because it kind of looks shaggy. And we're just going to work it because we want to knead this for 6 minutes. And all that time, we are going to add more flour to it if we need to. Okay. So I am going to look at the clock and see 6 minutes. Okay. And I'm just going to keep kneading this and adding flour as I need it. And I usually add the bread flour. And any little shaggy parts, I'll just go ahead and put over to the side there. Now, when I finally get it all together, like so, and it's not shaggy anymore, what I like to do is make a little well right there. And I add a little bit more fat. Now, this is just regular vegetable oil. You can use olive oil. I've used sunflower oil. It's just completely up to you. So that's probably a tablespoon of oil. And this will add fat, and it also helps in the kneading. I learned this on one of those cooking shows. I think it was a British baking bread show with Paul Hollywood. And I thought, well, let me try that. And I really like the outcome of it. Okay, you see all these shaggy parts over here. You don't want to get that in your bread, so you just kind of get that out of the way. You don't want to incorporate that, but you want to add a little flour, a little bit at a time while you're kneading. So the reason I'm doing this by hand is that I've always done it by hand, but the new mixer, I'm getting out of breath. The new mixer has a dough hook. Now that has a dough hook too, but it has never worked. What I mean is the bowl just always flies off of that KitchenAid. So, and I don't know why. I use the dough hook. I don't have it on like super fast, but it has never worked for me. And I guess I've had that almost 10 years. So I guess it is time for a new one. I had my grandmother's KitchenAid. She passed away in 1993. And I had hers for years. Probably 10 years ago when I got that one. So that was a long time. And my dad used to fix it all the time. I don't know if it's brushes or something in it, what he called it. He would always fix it for me. And I loved using it because it was my grandmother's. Okay. And we're just going to continue to knead and knead for 6 minutes, like I said. And it will be ready to go on its first rise. So, when 6 minutes has happened, I will be back. Okay, I have finished the 6 minutes. I've got my bread bowl here, which I love. I picked this up at the thrift store, and it has somebody's name in it. They made it, Melinda, 1996. So, I am using that. I just love it. I'm going to pour a little bit of vegetable oil in here, probably 2 tablespoons, and I'm just going to go ahead and just work it around the bowl there. Okay. And then I've got my dough, and I want to tell you about whole wheat dough is a little bit tougher dough than a white bread dough or a sourdough dough. It's because the whole wheat is a coarser milled wheat. So don't be surprised if it's not real loose. This is beautiful. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I always put the top in, flip it over, and roll it around like so, and you've got that. And we're going to let this rise until it's doubled, which is usually about here. Takes anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I like to cover mine loosely with plastic wrap and a tea towel. And let me get a different one. I like a light tea towel. Here we go. A lighter one, not too heavy. And you want your house to be about at least 75 degrees if possible, or in a sunny window. And the house is pretty warm today, so I'm going to just put it over here on the stove, and we'll be back in a couple of hours. Make sure you don't have any burners on so you don't catch your tea towels on fire. But anyway, we will be back in a couple hours, and we will start the second half of the bread. Okay guys, it's been a couple hours and it doubled in size, and I am going to just kind of punch this down. And what I'm doing is releasing the gases. And I am going to use my bench scraper just to cut it in half. And we're going to let it rest for 10 minutes. Now you can either put it in regular loaf pans, or you can put it back into a ball, excuse me, and have it on a cookie sheet with some cornmeal on there and have more of an artesian loaf. But I'm going to put this in the loaf pans, and what I'm going to do now is cover this just again with a tea towel, and 10 minutes from now I'll be back and we will proceed on. Okay guys, we're back. It's been 10 minutes of resting, and now what I'm going to do is use my little roller here. I think this is Pampered Chef too. I think Kelly got me this a long time ago. And I just roll each one of these out, and then I'm going to put them in these loaf pans. So I'm just going to spray my loaf pans. Okay. And then after I've got them rolled out, we'll let these do the second rise for about an hour. It doesn't take that long. And we're going to bake these on 375 for about 30 minutes. And I just kind of roll them out to the size of the loaf pan, because I'm going to go ahead and just roll them up right now. And I'm rolling it tight, just like I normally do all my breads. Okay. And then, you know, where it comes together, I just pinch it and I just put it in a loaf pan, like so. And we'll do number 2. Now, if you don't have a roller, you can just kind of do this with your hands. It's up to you. So I'll show you how to do this one just like this. It's real easy. Maybe even faster. Okay. And you're just going to roll it tight. And you want to roll it tight so you don't have any air holes. You know, sometimes even if you buy store-bought bread, you can see air holes in your bread after it's baked. Okay, and then I just kind of go like that and put it in there. Okay, and I am going to spray the top of this. Spray the top. Okay, put it back over on the stove here to rise, and I'm going to put my tea towel over here, over it. That's got oil on it from the first rise. But I did find, I used to put plastic wrap on my second rise, but I have found that if I do that, and when I'm pulling it off, however gentle I am, it deflates my dough. So I'm not doing that anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this over here. And I will turn my oven on 200, because that helps with this to rise on the second rise. Or you can put it in your oven and just let the oven light. but I have a LED, and so it doesn't get warm in there. So that's why I don't do that. But you can do that too if you have a regular light bulb. Okay, well that is it. I'll be back in about an hour, and we will bake these babies. Okay, guys, I've got my second rise here. It's been an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and put these in. One didn't rise as good as I wanted it to, but that's all right. I preheated at 375, and I'm going to go ahead and put these in here and cook them for 25 to 30 minutes. We are in a tornado warning right now, so hopefully everything will be all right. Pray. It's been crazy weather. This is spring in Tennessee. So I will be back in about 25 minutes. Okay, guys. Well, I've got it out of the oven. It looks good, and it smells even better. So I'm going to let it rest for a little bit, and at the end of the video, I'll have it cut so you can see what it looks like. But I hope you give it a try. It's a wonderful bread. It's great for sandwiches, and it's really good hot with some butter on there. So thanks for everything. Hope you'll like, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day. Bye. Oh, and the tornado warning is over, and I'm still standing. Prayers for everybody in the way.